is humor the same in Mexico or around the world than it is in the United States? You find some things are funny here that aren't funny abroad?
Yes. Basically, humor is something that nobody can describe it, but tickles you, makes you laugh. Mostly is cultural. If you are a doctor in Mexico, you will laugh at the same jokes that a doctor in the United States will laugh at, because you have both gone to college, you have a certain level of education, and you are interested in certain things. So if you go to college, no matter in what country, you laugh about the same things. If you are in a certain level, you will laugh at that level of knowledge that you have. Localisms, if you make jokes about enchiladas and tacos and things like that, nobody else is going to understand except the Mexican people. In the United States, when I received the strips, many of the gags I didn't understand. I didn't understand about the Americans being hit by a roller pin. I thought how rude these wives hitting the men with roller pins. And many things about the mailman and all those cliches that Americans find very funny, we didn't. Because we didn't know that that's how Americans live. So first I thought that every American was very wealthy. Because every movie and everything that we see, even taxi drivers driving these magnificent houses, because the sets are exceptional. You know, when Doris Day is a waitress, she lives in this gorgeous apartment in New York with a magnificent view. She says, man, a Mexican waitress barely can live with a family because he doesn't make a living. So every American must be very wealthy and very intelligent, you know, because to have all that, you know, and oh my God, it's not true, you know. You have everything here like we have in Mexico. You have poor people. Really, whoa, and dumb bells too, you know. It cannot beat. Because usually the white American that we see is spending money, and you know, you find it, oh my God, everybody must be like that. And you arrive and that's not true, this is a cliche. So in humor, that's how it works. Certain things make you fun. The Marx Brothers didn't translate well into Mexico. Why? Because Mexicans, we don't make fun of little old ladies. I mean, we'll die before we can make fun of hit an old woman, you know. Oh. And the Marx Brothers were slapping them and doing all kinds of things. You know. That we don't find humorous. There's a lot of things that certain cultures find funny, other cultures don't find funny. In Japan, that'll be the day that you can make fun of anything, because they are more respectful. So their humor is completely different. It's more benign in many forms. So that's what it changed. But in general, yes, everything is the same. And it starts when you're a kid. What makes a kid laugh is so different than what makes a kid laugh in another country. I tried that in many of my trips. I tried to make drawings for kids. And again, it's cultural. When I do a cartoon, I go to a class and talk to the school here. The first thing the American kid will say, "Oh, draw the teacher! Yeah, draw the teacher!" And the more ridiculous you draw the teacher, the more they laugh. I did that in a Mexican school in the Yucatans once, and I started drawing, and I said, "You want me to draw the teacher?" And every kid turned around to look at the teacher to see what face he did, you know. And the teacher went, "Sure, go ahead," you know. So I draw the teacher, you know. And then they look at him, and if he laughed, they laugh. No kid would dare laughing to the teacher. You know, so when the teacher laughed, they laugh. They giggle, and then they laugh. Well, I was in Africa once, and when in Kenya, and I started making drawings. I always carry my portfolio with my paper. And they didn't understand one line of what I was doing. These absurd things, they never seen the movies, the cartoons on the movies. I wasn't on the city, because I'm very sure that an African kid on the city will understand more of that. But I was on the boondocks, and there's no way I could make these silly cartoons. They didn't know what it was. They didn't find it funny because they didn't relate it to anything that I know. But then I tried to do it a little more realistic with a guy being hit by a cow. Well, these little Maasai kids, they crack up. They love it. And it was a very silly thing. It was just a guy being hit by a cow. But that they found it really funny because they have never been on the movie. But this was in the 60s, in far place. If I had gone to school, I'm very sure that they would have laughed at many of the things that the Mexican kids or American kids will have laughed. I would have loved to have done the thing with a teacher to see what type of respect also they have for the teacher, which I assume is mostly like in Mexico too. But yes, that's it changes on those levels.